Continuing on from my list of the most powerful Jedi in canon, it's time for the list of the most powerful Sith. And in the words of a good friend, let's go. As I said in the previous video, this list is completely based on the most powerful feats using the Force. This isn't a ranking on dueling or lightsaber combat, and just because one ranks higher than the other doesn't mean that they would beat them. Before we begin, I wanted to give an honorable mention to Mother Talzin, who is not a Sith, but a fearsome Darksider, who even Sidious feared. In Darth Maul, son of Dathomir, she comes close to holding off the combined force of Sidious and Dooku at the same time. That's not something to scoff at. There are also a number of Darksiders out there, like the Knights of Ren, Snoke, and Kylo Ren, but there is a lack of Force feats on display for those people. Some would argue that Snoke's connection of Rey and Ben is a Force feat. My interpretation of that is that he is simply manipulating the already powerful connection between the two. If I'm missing anyone on this list that has a feat comparable to the ones that I'm about to describe, leave it in the comment section below. I'm sure I've missed someone. But without further ado, let's get to the list. Number 5, Dooku, or Darth Tyrannus as a Sith. Dooku, or Darth Tyrannus as a Sith, is a hard one to rank. On one hand, he's a premier duelist, which this list isn't ranking. On the other, he's only ever had to rely on this skill to dispatch his enemies. Quinlan Vos and Asajj Ventress, for example. However, there are a few notable examples of force power from Darth Tyrannus, mostly small pushes and pulls. His most powerful display of telekinesis comes from Darth Maul, son of Dathomir, when he comes under attack by Night Brother Viscus. The panel shows Dooku avoiding an overhead attack from Viscus by slamming him into the ground, cracking the floor beneath him. His most powerful display of Force Lightning comes from Dark Disciple by Christy Golden, but a better portrayal also from Darth Maul, son of Dathomir, when he is again under attack by Night Brothers. In this case, Tyrannus electrocutes the whole group, which is comparable to his feat in Dark Disciple. Tyrannus was definitely a master duelist, but he wasn't a pushover in force ability either. Number 4, Darth Maul. Maul is definitely another outlier in the force ability department, with many of his solo feats resting on his prowess and ferocity in combat, with many victories under his belt. But we do have a few instances of our favorite Zabrak flexing his force ability strength. He does deflect blaster bolts easily when attacked by Bo-Katan in Clone Wars Season 7, but he's got some pretty big feats to his name as well. While thought to be dead at the hands of Obi-Wan Kenobi in The Phantom Menace, Maul was discovered by his brother Savage in the Clone Wars, and it was revealed he had survived only through his singular hatred for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You cannot imagine the depths I would go to stay alive, fueled by my singular hatred for you.
This isn't a gigantic and powerful display of force powers, but this is a notable bending of the dark side of the force, being able to survive a bisection and sustain himself through sheer force of will through the dark side is very impressive. In the Clone Wars episode Revival, we do get a glimpse of his raw force power with telekinesis when he collapses a tunnel and pulls at a multi-ton shuttle. This shows that while Maul relied heavily on his combat prowess with a lightsaber, or at least preferred it, he was no slouch with the Force. Number 3, Darth Momin. Along with Ezra Bridger on the Jedi list comes another unorthodox power that is quite tricky to rank, but if I'm going to rank Maul high on this list for surviving based on sheer force of will, I'll have to back that up with including Momin on this list for simply resurrecting. Well, technically. While Sith and Darksiders cannot become Force ghosts, they can tether themselves to objects, which is a pseudo-immortality that they often employed and was their best attempt at eternal life. This was called Division of Consciousness. It was employed in EU/Legends by Vitiate and many other Sith Lords to persist through death while tethered to their masks or tombs. Darth Bane appears as a dark side spirit tethered to his tomb on Moraband, which I guess places Darth Bane on this list in spirit as well. Where Momin exceeds Darth Bane's tether is that he was actually able to come back fully. Unfortunately, he was stopped by Vader. In Darth Vader 2017, Darth Vader is building his castle on Mustafar. Palpatine advises him to seek counsel from Sith Lord Darth Momin, who was talented in the dark side for creating things. Momin tricks Vader into building a castle in the shape of a fork, making it a Force conduit. This allowed Momin to return to form through his mask and through the dark side energies converging on the castle and Mustafar. Number 2, Vader. And this is why Anakin Skywalker wasn't on the list of Jedi. His most impressive feats come in the form of Darth Vader. In the telekinesis department, we have many examples of Vader employing a force barrier to hold back water, but not just any water. In Jedi Fallen Order, we see Vader hold back a torrent of water in a depressurized tunnel deep in the ocean. In Vader 2017, issue number 3, when he finds himself within the currents of a rapid river. His response to this is to make like Moses and part the river. His most impressive feat comes from Darth Vader 2020 on his way to Exegol. As he is being tested by Palpatine and pursued by fellow Imperial fighters, Vader is forced to enter the Red Nebula, home of the Summa Verminoth, which psychologically torments its victims. At first, Vader succumbs to its attacks, but Vader learns to overpower this mind maze and ends up taming the Summa Verminoth to be subservient to him. He then goes on to challenge Palpatine on Exegol using the Verminoth as an attack mount, which leads us to number 1, Darth Sidious. There are many examples of Sidious being just the most powerful Sith Lord in canon. In Revenge of the Sith, he battles Yoda to a stalemate in Force power, he defeats several opponents with the potency of his Force lightning, and in The Rise of Skywalker, hopped up on Dyad energy, unleashes a Force storm capable of incapacitating many of the starships in the atmosphere. But of course, that's not what I'm ranking. In Vader 2020, refusing to bow down to Vader atop his Summa Verminoth, Palpatine resorts to applying Force stasis on the massive beast as well, paralyzing the massive creature and rendering it powerless. Considering the scale and abilities of the Summa Verminoth, he's also doing this while combating the psychological attacks of the creature. Also, considering the scale of paralyzing such a behemoth, this puts Sidious squarely on par with Yoda's most impressive feat, which was stopping a living giant. At the end of the day, Sidious was the most powerful Sith in history. Having come very close to immortality using a combination of essence transfer and strand casts, he survived all throughout the Skywalker saga. His knowledge and mastery over the Force was rivaled only by Yoda, and suffice to say, the only person to have ever defeated him was himself, a reflection of his own power. Palpatine, or Darth Sidious, truly was the Phantom Menace. That'll do it for my list of the most powerful Sith in canon history. If you have your own list and if you judge it by different criteria, please leave it in the comment section below. I would love to see your lists and who you think is the most powerful Sith as well. But as always, if you enjoyed this video or learned something new, please leave a like and subscribe for more Star Wars content. The content pipeline is ramping up, and I'm going to be releasing a whole bunch of videos in the coming weeks. So subscribe if you don't want to miss any of them. Of course, a huge shout out and a thank you to our channel members, Squadron 7, without which I could not continue to give you content. But that's the end. On to the next one. For light and life, we are all the Republic, and may the Force be with you.